Hello everyone, I'm back with another Reddit Addicts episode. If you find my videos entertaining, please kindly subscribe and like them. Thanks to everyone for your suggestions and kind notes. Now, let's get started with today's exciting stories.
My girlfriend was raped while in the process of cheating on me. I don't know what to do from here. I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes trying to figure out how to start this. My head is completely spinning, my thoughts are just all over the place. I guess with the backstory, I've been dating Sarah, not using real names, for just under 2 years now. She has a close friend John, who she's known since she was a child. I never liked him, he was always a little creepy, blatantly flirted with Sarah for the entirety of our relationship and made occasional passes that I was not comfortable. So cut to like 2 weeks back, Sarah and I were invited to a gathering/party by a mutual friend. I had a workshop for work that night so I couldn't attend, and with current circumstances I was never inclined to go anyways. I didn't want Sarah to go either, but she was very adamant and I guess I just didn't want an argument, so I said fine. We ended up running into John later that day and he mentioned the same party and asked us if we had been invited as well. My girlfriend told him she was going but I wasn't, and he got this weird smile on his face and said something along the lines of, "If you're going, I guess I have to go." Just something about his smile and way he said really rubbed me the wrong way. Plus I didn't want to be possessive, but the idea of the both of them together all night at a party did not sit with me well. After we got back to our apartment I told her, a bit more firmly this time, that I'm not comfortable with her going to the party, especially with him there. She told me I was overreacting and shut down the conversation at that. I'm sure most of you can figure out where this is going. I went to the workshop and she went to the party. It got to be like 2 a.m. and she hadn't gotten home nor was answering my calls. Naturally I was incredibly worried. About an hour later one of her friends called me and told me was found unconscious at the party and driven to the hospital. She was raped by John. After spending 2 days, including that night at the hospital, and talking with police, I took her home. She told me John drugged her and dragged her upstairs where it happened in one of the bedrooms. House the party was at is very large. She was an absolute mess. She didn't want to go outside, she wasn't eating, had terrible nightmares. I did everything I could to comfort her through this process. I was devastated for her and hated to see her like this, and I know this makes me sound like a terrible person. I don't blame her for John assaulting her, but I couldn't get the fact. I tried more than once to dissuade her from going to the party, and specifically saying her being with John makes me uncomfortable out of my head. I feel I could have done more to protect her, and she should have listened to how I felt. Important side note, turns out John is literal living garbage. After her assault we both felt it was best to get justice. There were drugs in her system and all the physical indications of rape. We immediately filed a restraining order and the police opened an investigation. Within the span of a week after news had gotten around, 2 other girls came forward with similar encounter with John, so the guy is basically a serial rapist. Cut to now, my girlfriend is still in no better shape than she was 2 weeks ago. She gets panic attacks out of nowhere. She's lost like 15 pounds and absolutely refuses to leave our apartment even to seek therapy. I was committed to taking care of her and being there for her, but I got a call from one of my close friends, Sam, this morning. It was a long conversation, but it basically boiled down to him as well as many others at the party that night saw Sarah flirting with John the entire beginning of the party. According to him and people he had been talking to, she was at the very least matching, if not being the initiator in these exchanges with John. He also recounts that she wasn't blackout drunk or seemingly that out of it, and worst of all, many saw her holding John's hand taking John upstairs. At this point I feel like I want to vomit. He told me he wanted the situation to cool down a bit before telling me, and was going to tell me after the party what happened, but with her being taken to the hospital under the circumstances he didn't feel it was the right time. I decided to not assume anything and asked her about the specifics about what happened that night. She tried to tell me the same thing, that she was drugged and dragged to a bedroom, but when I told her what Sam had told me, the color completely drained from her face. She started to panic and I did my best to calm her down, but it was at least 30 minutes before she could catch her breath to speak. She was sobbing, but she was coherent enough to understand and basically confessed to cheating on me. She said she was drunk and hadn't been out for so long she wanted some adventure. She admitted she the one that took John to the bedroom and wasn't dragged there against her will. She kept apologizing and saying it was a terrible mistake and that nothing else was a lie. He did rape her. I believe the last part. As far as I can understand now, it was when they were in the bedroom fooling around when he slipped something into here or something like that, then he forced himself on her. I don't know what to do anymore. She was raped, but to me the everything before that was her still intending to cheat and actively cheating on me. I am devastated and I don't even want to look at her right now. I left the apartment and am currently at Sam's house. I don't know anything anymore. She lost her job to COVID. I pay rent for the apartment where her name isn't on the lease and groceries. She's become completely emotionally dependent on me the past few weeks. If I did break up with her, she would have nowhere to go, and as much as I resent her, I don't want something terrible happening to her. Please help, I need advice, don't know what to do. TLDR, my girlfriend was raped by a friend at a party I was uncomfortable with her going to. I found out she lied and omitted the fact that she was in the process of sleeping with him that night anyways. She is both financially and emotionally dependent on me and I need advice. Edit, there's been a lot of responses in a short time, so I thought it would be best to address some things here. First off, I've been made aware that 2 posts of somewhat similar situations have been posted to this sub in the past 2 weeks or so. I don't know what I could post here to prove this is true without exposing my privacy, so I'm sorry, but all I can do is give you my word. I'm just here looking for advice. I don't think this is something someone should be fantasizing for a karma farm. It's completely upended my life. Second thing is people questioning Sarah's account of the events. I didn't include every detail because I'm just trying to get my thoughts out, but her story matches the other 2 women who came forward in terms of the pattern of John's behavior. The 2 other women were also initially in a consensual environment before he drugged them and assaulted them. From what they've said and posted, a large part of the reason they didn't come forward was because it started as consensual and they thought that would make them not be believed. I also didn't want to get too graphic, but the nature of Sarah's assault was very violent and not something most anybody would consent to, so that may be why he drugs them first as well. She had and still has traces of large bruises around her neck and other parts of her body, as well as scratches and gashes. I don't really doubt at all she was indeed assaulted. The drug found in her system was ketamine. While Sarah did enjoy partying, she never did anything harder than weed. Third, Sarah has been living abroad for school since starting college. Her parents have been made aware of the situation, but coming from a very religious background, while concerned for her well-being, aren't exactly being supportive nor have put in the effort to come see her. She never had many close friends for as long as I've known her other than John. I don't know where she would go if I told her she can't stay at my apartment.
We hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe for more.